is hormone replacement therapy good or bad for patients with mast cell activation syndrome? Well, this is a really important question because, I think most of you know that my answer to a lot of things is, well, it depends. But what I would say is this, that we know that mast cells have receptors on their surface, over probably 300 different receptors on their surface, and including estrogen receptors, progesterone receptors, and testosterone receptors. So we know that mast cells are intimately involved with hormones, and changes in hormones in our body will and can initiate release of mediators from the mast cell, or vice versa, stabilize the mast cell. For women who are menstruating, we often see that different times of the month leads to different sets of symptoms, very much related to the rise and fall of certain hormones during certain times in the cycle. When we think about perimenopause and menopause, when there are potentially either huge fluctuations in hormones or lack of hormones like estrogen during the late part of perimenopause and menopause, we see that those either shifts in hormones or lack of hormones leads to many different symptoms. Again, various symptoms in different women. All that to say that for some women, progesterone is particularly helpful as a mast cell stabilizer. Can be very helpful in women who have hormonal imbalances earlier in life or later in life. Estrogen too, estradiol, maybe while it may have a stimulating effect to the mast cell in certain times of a woman's life, it also actually can potentially stabilize the mast cell when the levels are actually stable. Again, mast cells read changes in the hormone levels, right? So when estrogens go up and down, particularly in the perimenopausal period, but also again during a menstrual cycle, those fluctuations are usually what is causing the activation of the mast cell. Steady state estradiol replacement, using a patch, using a cream, using even a pill potentially, by keeping the estrogen levels stable, actually it could have a positive effect on women with mast cell activation syndrome. So again, as I answer a lot of things, it really depends, and I think that's why it's really important to work with a medical provider who understands the nuances of women's health and the nuances of our immune systems, and at least has some knowledge of mast cell activation syndrome. When you put that together, I think you can really get the right approach for you, and whether that is replacing estrogen, replacing progesterone, or both, especially if you have a uterus, you do need both during the peri to postmenopausal period in time.